I'm showing today is how to put piston rings and the piston inside the jug. So the tools you might need is a piston ring compressor, of course the thing to tighten the piston ring compressor, and obviously the piston and its rings, screwdriver, this is needed later on, and a flathead screwdriver, which is a little bit helpful. So as you can see right now, the piston rings are on the piston. All you want to do is kind of just lift them up and spiral them off, something like that. And just keep doing that. You don't want to overstep the top pistons, or else they crack pretty easily, very easily. You just kind of use the screwdriver, get it in there, and circle around. Just keep working on it and twisting it. And they pop off pretty easily. Then you start on the bottom oil rings. See, there we go. There they want to go. There they are. All right. Then you just keep spinning them as well because you don't want to bend them. They're a lot more bendable than the other ones. Like that. And this one's kind of tricky, the oil ring in there, because it likes to hide where the end is. So you kind of just have to sit there and play with it until you find out where it wants to come off, or you can start by taking off the bottom ring. And since it is a little oily, it's a little hard to get your fingers in there. There we go, got it. And it comes off pretty easily, like I said before. Now, where's that one at? There it is. So, here is the oil rings, and those are those other thin piece of metal ones too. And then here are the actual piston rings. And these are a 70 millimeter, and every piston has a different size of one. So now I'll put them back on and show you how to do that. So you start with the oil ring, and you just twist around. That one's really easy to get on, very flexible. Next, you just put on the bottom one of the oil. See? Come on, you. There it goes. All right. Next is the top part of it, which can sometimes be a pain to get inside the slot because there's not much room, which keeps it tight, so you don't lose any compression. There we go, got it on. And you also want to make sure that each of the rings, where the slots are 1/3 away from each other, or else you can also lose compression from that. And when you start with the piston rings, I like to start from the top, or else they snap pretty easily. You just kind of work your way around and spin it if it wants to get on. It does get your hands a little oily, but that's kind of what you expect. Got worried there. Alright, then just keep working your way around, spinning it, using the screwdriver. Just circle around so it slides on pretty easily, just like that. And then you finish off with the top one. On there, and the top one's pretty easy. So as you can see, each of the piston rings are set at a different location where the split is. And my favorite way of putting it in the jug is usually just pushing down on the rings, and it slides in there pretty easily. You just kind of have to wiggle around to where, you don't want to push down with too much force, because in our small engines class, Carson and Big Jake, they tried that, and the piston ring got caught up inside the jug and it got stuck there. And that's not really what you want, believe it or not. This is what the screwdriver's for. Because sometimes it likes to be a little sticky right there at the end. That's how you get it in like that. Now, I'll show you how to put it in with a piston ring compressor. So, you push down to release it. You pull it tight. Push it in there. And what I like to do is tighten it down a little bit from the top, or else you can't really get it in there, and you could either put it in sideways or whatever. So you kind of want to lift it up like 6 millimeters or whatever. Whatever it looks right, just on the tip of it. Just so you have enough to put it in the jug. And so they don't slip out, because that might be a problem too. Put the end in there, something like that, and then just push down. This way simple, because then you don't have to worry about pushing down on the piston rings or whatever and pulling on them. It's going down, but there we go. So as you can see, it went in there all the way now, and just slides in and out like a piston should. Pulls out, and believe it or not, the piston might have came out in 150 BC, but the piston rings came out in 1854 to help with the steam engine. So it came out quite a few years later. And thank you for listening to my speech.